There is a storm coming, a financial storm. This feeling, it feels way too familiar. I remember in 2008 when I experienced this, I understood what was happening, I just wasn't in a position to capitalize. And I remember speaking to my brother saying that one day we'll be in a position in which if this happens again, we will be able to capitalize. Now most people look at a recession and think, recessions are bad. Bad for who? They're not bad for everybody. You heard the term, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. This is exactly what is going to happen again in an even bigger way. Right guys, I'm going to be very direct with you in this episode. This episode is not just meant for information. I want you to take away something very important, very practical, that you can do something about it. Because the reality is people are still not awake to it. When the UK announces that we're in a recession, America hasn't just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's coming very soon. Now, I can't tell you a time frame or a time date as this is when it's going to happen, but just use your common sense and look at what's happening in the world right now. You experience it and you feel it when you just go into the store and you're buying simple things, right? Think about inflation, price of goods. When you're seeing the price, you feel it in your shopping, you feel it in your energy prices, feel it in your fuel prices. When you're booking your holidays, if any of you have started to go on any vacations, you've probably seen places that you've been to in the past. A £2,000 holiday is now 4,000, a 4,000 is now 8, and so on and so on. And do you really think that it's just going to revert back to normal? Look at the price of even just building houses. I've experienced this as well. Everything is going up, 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 up and up. Now this is a financial, it's just a way that our economic system is set up. This is not something out of the ordinary. This has happened for years and years. It just kind of happens every kind of 10 to 15 year period. The market corrects like that. Now in these periods, what happens? People that are over leveraged massively, they didn't have a plan, they go from being very, very wealthy to, they don't go to being poor, but they can lose a lot. They can be in very stressful positions, very risky positions. But there's also people that were liquid available, had cash, and were in a position to do something about it. So my point being here is that what you need to understand is that it could be a year from now, could be a year and a half, could be 2, maybe even 3. It feels a bit closer than that. And I can only say that I could be wrong, right? But I'm only saying that from experience, that I've gone through this nearly twice and experienced it. One was a bit of a mini one, but one was the major one, of course, in 2008. Now, the crazy thing about it is that the recovery, when we hit those low points, the recovery happens quicker than you think, and that is where key opportunities are at. So you might be thinking, right, it's all well and good. Whether you're a trader listening to this or not, you can still benefit and you can do something about it. Now, this is where you do not want to budget on investing in yourself or assets. What do you think the wealthy do in this period of time? Now, I'm very fortunate and grateful that over the years I've built my network and my circle. People in different industries to me have different businesses, but they all have something in common. They've got property portfolios, etc. And they all have something in common that they do, right? They're acquiring more assets, which is why you're seeing this buyer's market at the moment. You're seeing the pension funds, etc., just acquire all of these flats, whether they're units of 10, 20, whatever it is, right? They're acquiring more and more properties, which is creating more of that demand. If you've been in the property market recently where you've had your house valued, if you're looking to sell it, you've probably noticed that it's gone up quite a lot over the last couple of years. And it's forecasted to continue to go up over a 5 to 10 year period. So people are acquiring these because in times of potential crashes and things like that, that's when inflation becomes a huge killer. It's where cash is not going to be beneficial because it gets devalued even more. So then your cost of living, let's say you've got £100,000 in the bank and you're using that to spend on things, £20,000 of it is not going to be worth £20,000 because it's been devalued. So what you can get for that 20,000 or 10,000 or 1,000 is now very different, which is what I alluded to earlier when you're booking your holidays, price of goods, just general things. So if you're noticing that and then looking at, let's say, your wages, wherever you work, and you've not done something about it, what do you think is going to happen when your increase isn't enough in 2 to 3 years time from now, and that you've probably gone into a bit of a fearful mindset where you're trying to cut cost everywhere? Well, this is what the poor people do, or the poor mindset, I would say. They stop investing in things that is going to help them actually make more money, right? They're either not aware to it in the first place, or they're aware of it, but they feel like they would be better off to safeguard themselves by cutting back on everything. Now, the craziest thing about this is that when you cut back and you cut back, you attract more of it. So you go from an abundance mindset into a scarcity mindset, which is exactly where they want you to be, because this is where you get controlled. And then what happens, 2-3 years come down the line, we're in a position in which that those that have liquid available cash or assets have taken advantage of that period of time, and the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. So the people that have not done anything about it then get hurt even more, but they bury their heads in the sand, they still book events, they still are looking online to pay for holidays because maybe they've told themselves that, oh, I need a break, you know, and they start convincing themselves that they need a break. So then they pay for a holiday that used to be 2,000, now it's 3,000, but they've justified it because in their head they need a break, and they've justified it in all these different ways. But the cold hard truth is you needed to put that money to good use, whether that be building a skill or putting it into an asset. Now that asset could be property, it could be crypto, it could be shares, whatever you want to put it into that you've done your research on. But you've got to be smart about this, because I forecast in a couple of year period of time, and I'm going to link this all back to why it's so important, why I want to be very direct with this as to what our mission here at Falcon and what we're doing for things like this comes into place. 2 or 3 years time, could be 2, 3, like I said, I can't forecast, I don't have a crystal ball, the exact time frame, but you feel it as well, right? So I don't even need to justify this. You can see it in your day-to-day life. What happens with that is massive opportunity, and I mean huge opportunity. Now it can be in the form of cryptos, it can be in the form of shares, it can be in the form of property deals, land prices. Opportunities will come, and you will either be in a position where you've done the work and you've been building a skill set that has the ability to produce cash flow for you. Those of you that have cash flow will be in a position to say, right, these opportunities that are here, so if you've got a good network and a good circle, which is what I've built here in Falcon, is to be able to relay those opportunities to people, you'll be in a position where you can go, right, well, I've been making 10, 20K a month because I've scaled up my trading account, I've put my capital to good use, I've invested in myself, and now I am an asset, right? Think about it from that perspective. You yourself are an asset. If you're making 10, 20, even 5K per month, you're now in a position, you're part of the 0.01% of people in which that you can use that money to invest that money into extra things, which then means when they appreciate, not only is your money working harder for you, you're still trading, you're still doing all the things that you're doing, you've still got that skill set, and now you've got your money working hard for you. It's a very, very simple science. However, what is the consequence? I want to ask you this. What is the consequence in one of the biggest shifts in which you can make more money than what you've ever made for if you have a plan? Because remember, recession isn't bad for everybody. It's bad for people that don't have a plan and don't do anything about it. It's bad for the people that spectate, bury their head in the sand, and are still complaining about petrol prices. They're still complaining. They go into work and they complain about, oh, have you seen the fuel prices? Who cares? Who cares about the fuel prices? How about go through your bank statements and cut out all your dirty, bad habits that you need to cut out versus an extra 20 or 30 pound in your monthly spending on fuel. But because you've convinced yourself that you don't like the price of what you see on the petrol pump, that is what really annoys you, let's be honest. But the cold hard truth is you're still going out every Friday night and you'll happily spend 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds on that. You'll happily still buy an extra jumper or an extra pair of trainers that you don't need. So you still got, and you haven't fixed your fundamental problems, which is you still spend £200 a month on garbage that is not going to put you closer towards your goals, but you're worried about 20 or 30 pounds a month on fuel prices. Yes, it can be frustrating and annoying, but perspective has to come into play here. And the reason as to why is that, do you think that wealthy people are worried about fuel prices, energy prices, gas prices? They're not. They're just looking at everything holistically and going, right, so what do I need to do? I need more assets, I need to acquire more capital, so I'm ready. What I've learned, and from speaking to people that are very well connected, and a lot of these people even further along than me financially, they're all waiting. And it's funny how they all have something in common. They're all doing the same thing. They are waiting for opportunity, because there will be a correction and there'll be things that are nowhere near as expensive as what they are now, especially the assets that they're looking to acquire, myself included, that we will scoop up. So you've got to ask yourself, how are you going to get into a position to take advantage of that? So you often hear the term, when you've got money, when you've made a lot of money, it's easier to let that money work for you. Yes, because you have opportunity and you can afford to be in a position to actually put that money into something, which is why I've always been big on this or against this obsession with, I want to be a full-time trader, Mark, I want to just be full-time. So what you want to do is you want this illusion, this fairy tale of being a full-time trader. You want to sit by the screen, you want to be glued to the screen, you want to be the Instagram trader, but the reality, it doesn't actually exist. What you really want is freedom, and you want enough money to be able to do what you want, with whoever you want, wherever you want, right? That's just the truth. So where are you going to acquire that skill, and do you have everything else in place to do that? Which is why my mission stands strong, has done from day one, plus 5 years now, and moving towards that. I was literally dreaming of moments like this, and I don't wish any struggle or stress financially upon anyone. However, the reality is this world is ruthless, and if on one hand you're complaining that prices are going up, but you still have the same bad habits and you're not willing to do anything about it, I've got no sympathy for you. If you're in a position where you're working 2 or 3 jobs, maybe to take care of your family, completely different position. But for those of you that sit there and complain and say, you know, I can't afford to invest £100 a month into my education, you can't afford not to, because at the end of that, you're gonna be in a worse position if you don't. And it is as simple as that. Build the skill set, become the asset, and be in a position a year from now, 2 years from now, where you have more cash flow than what you've ever had before. Then you can start putting that into things that is going to help you make more money. It is as simple as that. Have a plan, start writing it down, get serious, and I promise you, you can completely change the financial framework for your life and for your family. I've done it myself, I've been that. I know what it's like to live in garbage and then rise from that by having a plan and moving forward. And I promised myself I'll be in these positions to take advantage of it. And this is exactly what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna help as many people recognize these opportunities and benefit them with me. If this message resonates with you, if you're really serious, no nonsense, you wanna be involved in something like this and take advantage of opportunities further than just foreign exchange, then feel free to reach out to us. I hope it wakes you up, because a storm is coming and the people that are prepared are gonna be the ones that take advantage.